Alright, so welcome back to the Big Bad Bench, everybody. I recently acquired 16 compact Mac computers, so it's a combination of a Mac 2, Mac Classic 2, a Mac Classic, 8 Macintosh SEs, and 6 Macintosh Pluses. So let's show you. So you can see here that we have all colors of the beige bow represented by these Macs, and really they're basically all in unknown condition. So what I plan on doing is restoring them and selling them off for charity, or to raise money for charity. But I hope to take you all along for the ride. So when I first bought this lot, I guess to give you a little bit of background, I originally came across these Macs on Facebook Marketplace. There was a scrapper that I bought some stuff from before, and he had them posted up there, and he eventually stopped responding to me, so I figured he had sold them. And then on Reddit, I saw somebody posted a link to an eBay listing that had all 16, or well, there were originally 17, in Boston, a listing for 16 Macintosh compact Macs. And so I was like, oh, well, that's that lot. And so I checked it, and I decided to buy it. And so the person I bought it from went through and he took some of the batteries out, and he saw that this particular Macintosh Classic that we're going to start with today, or actually this is Mac Classic 2, I think. No, this is the Mac. Yeah, this is the Mac Classic. So this Mac Classic had battery leakage coming out of the bottom, and if you look at the thumbnail of this stream, you can see that this thing used to be in really bad condition, and so I actually started on this restoration before this video, but what we have here is the motherboard after a couple days of soaking in acid, and then also soap, and then going back to acid, and then going back to soap, and so this thing was in really bad shape. We're in much better condition now, but it's not great. And so you can see here we have a number of traces that have been destroyed, and on the back, I left a little bit of flux there. All of these resistors are all really screwed up. There's no connection. They're basically physically there. This one, when I did the washing, this one fell off, and now this little resistor's all by itself now. And so none of these are connected. I found the component board level diagrams of these things, and it seems like all of these are required for the connect to the serial chip, and so I'm hoping that they're not required to boot up the system. Interestingly, for how poor of a condition this system was in, when I took the caps off, if we look at the caps, they're actually really corroded and nasty. But when you check them, most of them are actually in reasonable functional condition. I don't know about this one in particular, but let's take a look at it real quick. So yeah, this is showing up as a 45-ish microfarad resistor. It's a 47, which, you know, for this tester thing, that's pretty close to as accurate as we can get. Relatively low ESR. So actually the caps, even though they look really bad on this system, were functionally fine. I did not try to power this thing up yet because this whole corner was covered, and so I just, I wanted to not. I didn't want to power this thing on with all the corrosion and stuff, and so I'm fairly confident that the corrosion is in a decent state now. So let's put some capacitors back on this thing and try to power it up. And so all of the caps on this computer are 47 microfarad, 16 volt, except for one, which is just a 1 microfarad cap. And so what I did was, after cleaning all this and going through it, I went in and cleaned up all these solder pads, and then tinned them all. And so it should be a pretty quick process to put all the caps back on this thing. And we're not putting the old caps back on here, I'm just replacing them with new ones. But I did think it was kind of interesting that for as bad as those caps looked, they actually were in functionally decent condition. At least according to my little cheapo ESR meter. And so I got asked by a few people, what would possess you to buy 16 compact Macintoshes? And well, obviously there's got to be something wrong in my brain, and so that'll be my first answer. If you've seen my channel at all, you see that I've mostly been active over the last month, and I've kind of struggled with starting or being more active of a YouTube creator at a time when there's so much bad going on in the world. And for old computers, this seems kind of frivolous to be doing something like this. I do like old computers from a history standpoint, from a technological development standpoint, and I like to keep things from showing up in landfills. And also, I'm an educator, and so, I like to learn and I like to share what I've learned with other people. And so I've never worked with this kind of computer in the past, and so it was an opportunity to learn a lot about these kinds of computers, and because of, I plan on showing these repairs on the YouTube channel. It's an opportunity to share some educational experiences with other people. But I also saw this as an opportunity to raise some funds for some organizations that could really use the help right now. And so in every video that I do about this stuff, I'm going to have a link in the video description for some organization that you could theoretically donate to. But, that's entirely optional. I don't want anyone to donate to me. I just want to donate to other people if possible. And once I get to the point where these are all nicely restored, and all the money that I raise from selling these, every cent of that is going to get donated to different organizations. And so, even though there's bad in the world, and this might be considered sort of a frivolous activity, I'm hoping to turn it into something positive. But anyway, back to the restorations. And so I have 5 of the caps on there now. 3 more to go. And because I went in and tinned these earlier, they all are pretty easy. I might have to hit a little bit more solder on that one. Most of these traces, I'm kind of surprised at how good a lot of these traces looked. For as bad as the I don't know, Bruce calls it scunge, from Bronchus Creations. I'm surprised that any of these traces were left in a working state after looking at this motherboard originally. If you happen to have seen my LC3 recapping video, in that one I used all tantalum caps, and after doing that job, I think I might be switching to tantalums for a lot of my work in the future. That was super easy. Everything has been working really well with that system, even in the overclocked state. So I was really excited the way that the tantalums worked on that computer. Okay, one more to go. That out of the way. Don't want to lose that resistor. It is nice that these boards all do have the schematics posted online, so I think I can ultimately fix the wiring that goes from these 3 areas to get over to the serial chip. I think these should all be good. Alright, so that motherboard should be good to go now. Again, just to show you, this area of the board was really in bad condition, and all those vias around, it's R88, R89, and R90 are all shot, and traces similarly in that area are screwed up. Luckily, most of these traces are just heading over to the, I think it's called the burn-in connector or something. But the problem is that these traces go down to the vias, and then they go over to these resistors, and then that goes over to the serial chip, I think. Obviously, if I'm getting that wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments if you've worked on one of these before. But let's pull up the case and let's see what this thing looks like. Ooh. All right, so there you can see from the top view, it's pretty nasty. So let's switch our view a little bit here. Oh yeah, this is good. So already you can see a bunch of rust is falling out of the system. Oh yeah, that's classic compact Mac destruction right there. Oh, that's a shame. If we go up here, you can see that it has gone up to that part of the chassis. Let's pop off the protective plastic. See what we're dealing with on the analog board. Oh, the big bad bench is getting really gross right now. Oh well, it's cleanable. Okay, so we can see that the rust has gone up to the analog board. So let's pop that out. Or at least move it over slightly. One of the things I'm going to do here is pop the connector off the yoke. It was a good tip from Adrian's Digital Basement about working with these things, because they can kind of snap off if you're not careful. So I'm not going to be able to show you from here. I might be able to a little bit there. So there is some nastiness on the bottom, but it hasn't gone up into the rest of the analog board yet. So I think we kind of dodged a bullet there. I'm ultimately going to take this thing fully apart and deal with all of the rust in the main chassis, but you know, basically that's just going to be taking things apart and doing some rust treatment on it. If you're interested in seeing that kind of thing, feel free to let me know, but that tends to take a while, and so I probably am not going to do that kind of thing on a live stream. It's like I'm not going to, I'm going to retrobrite all of these, but I won't be doing that on the live stream either, because, that takes a while, and it's kind of boring to just sit there and watch a board soak in a bath for an extended period. Alright, so let's try this thing and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to connect the board in the back. Connect our yoke. Sorry, don't get seasick. Use the SCSI cable as sort of a insulator. And I'm gonna plug this crazy thing in. Let's see. Obviously, be very careful if you are working with anything like this. Don't touch the analog board when you have it plugged in. Don't touch it after you unplug it for a little while. But let's see what happens. I'm kind of cringing right now. Got a hard drive spin. Got no bong. Oh, we got a weird lines. Oh, and the hard drive shut off. Alright, so while... Oh, alright, I'm going to shut this off for a second. Alright, so sometimes if the hard drive shuts off, that's a pretty good indicator that the power supply is not in good condition. So I'm going to hook up my power, or my voltmeter. I'm going to plug it in, or dangle it out the back of the hard drive, just to show you where I'm connecting it. Okay, so I'm just putting the leads in the hard drive connector. Right now I have it hooked up to the 12 volt. We're at 11.61, which isn't great, but it should be okay. Let's kick this back off. Switch the leads over. About 4.8. That's not terrible. But we can see we've got some issues going on here. So we got no bong. The good news is that the screen actually looks kind of decent. So, you know, we'll take that as a win. I'm gonna shut this down. Gonna unplug this. It's making it less likely that I shock myself. Alright, so yeah, if anyone knows if you need the serial chip to work properly in order for compact Macs to boot, let me know. would do that on video, but my microscope, I don't have a good camera on the microscope, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect the motherboard. It's nice to hear that the hard drive booted up. Let's start taking this thing apart. See how big of a hard drive we had in this. Gonna make you all seasick. What the heck? Doesn't Quantum give you the capacity on this one? It's interesting. Pro Drive ELS. I don't see the capacity on here. Okay, whatever. Let's see how nasty this floppy drive is. Ooh. Oh, it's in there. A little trick you can use on these. Just use the extension as a way to get a little leverage. Okay, so our 1.44 floppy drive. See some good stuff peeking through right there. Oh, it's actually not in terrible condition. A little bent. I've seen much worse from these things. A little gross. Some crust down in the worm gear or worm drive. But overall, that's not too bad. All right, cool. Well, I'll call that one a win. We may not have a perfectly functioning drive, but it's definitely not the worst one I've ever seen. The thing I've been thinking about with this motherboard not wanting to boot up, the crystal is in a really nasty spot, so I might need to get a replacement crystal. If you can see that thing looks pretty gross, so I might need to get a new crystal there. This thing's gross. Oh, this is gross. Alright. Ooh, there's a little dead bug. That needs to get discharged. Seemingly not. From what I understood, these had bleed down resistors, so it shouldn't kill you. They still scare me. One second, I'll be right back. Okay. Probably should have been wearing gloves from the get-go, just because this thing is nasty. Fan off. This connector. Let's get our case out of here. Let's take a look at this analog board. See if anything looks super bad on it. Oh. Okay, so right away, let's zoom in here. You can see electrolyte right there. So we have some leaking caps on the analog board. So I'll get these on order. I haven't taken these apart, so I don't have these on hand. I didn't know all the values. I guess I should have looked it up. But I'll get these on order and get some replacements in. And hopefully we'll be in business after fixing the analog board. I'll also go through and try to look at the mess that made. So I'll try to go through and fix some of the traces on the that go to the other circuit. Okay, so get a bag for those and put all the screws away. Let's look at another one. Oh, see, this is why you don't want to mess. Almost lost my resistor there. Okay. That's gross. So, here's a Mac Classic 2. You can see also, look at that color. Oof. My white balance is probably automatically trying to fix it. There we go. It's almost like orange. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, you can't even tell. There you go. Now you can kind of tell there. Alright, so I haven't tried powering this one up. So let's see what this one does. Hard drive spinning, so that's good. Got something that almost sounded like a bong. I don't know if it's coming through on the microphone or not, but we're getting some of that nasty noise like my LC3 was doing from its bad capacitors. So I have a feeling, I'm hoping that this is only due to bad capacitors. So let's see what we're looking at on the inside of this one. Top screws are gone. Looks like we're only being held together with one bottom screw. Alright, so this one, since we know we're not functioning correctly, let's just connect it up. And let's check the voltages while we're here. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but this part physically spins. I don't think I've ever seen that in a hard drive before, where you can see it spinning on the outside. I've seen the part where you see the little actuators going. Alright, so we're at 12.2 volts here on the 12 volt, almost 12.3, or 5.06, 5.07. That's pretty good. So this analog board seems pretty happy. Well, at least the voltages that it's pumping out seem pretty happy. So let's see what the motherboard on this one looks like. Hopefully it's not as much of a terror as that last system, because that was pretty awful. I really didn't, when I first saw that the Mac Classic's motherboard, I was like, oh, there's no way that one's ever gonna start up again. But got something out of it, so that's giving me some hope. Let's pop this hard drive out and see what this one looks like. The other good thing is that that screen also looks pretty good on this one. So 2 decent screens. That's kind of a win, right? This is a IBM hard drive. It's cool. I've only really ever seen quantums in these old Macs. 40 meg. Okay, cool. Alright, now let's check out the motherboard. Well, immediately we're in much better shape because there's no battery in it, so that's a huge win. But let's switch this up. Let's take a closer look at the motherboard. So there's some green and some juiciness, but this definitely isn't the worst that I've ever seen. This board's got a much wider array of capacitors on it. I don't have them in stock right now, so there's more stuff I'm gonna have to order. Lots of capacitors on this. problems are there. Gonna have to check up on this. You know, obviously, like I said, I'm not really familiar with these models at all. Got to check these jumpers to make sure that that's on the right spot for how this thing's configured. So it looks like this one is gonna get decapped, and then we'll do a little acid bath, followed by soap, followed by acid bath again, and clean it off real good. And then we'll come back, and once we have some caps in, and we'll recap this one. Alright, so I think I'm going to end this stream here. Not a lot of success today, but you know, we had 2 systems that powered on. We got stuff that came out of the screen, so that's good to see at least. Obviously, it would have been nice if they booted right up, but this isn't the worst outcome that we could have had. So get subscribed, and if you want to see me struggle my way through the rest of these 16 Macintoshes, I'll be here. And I'll probably intersperse some other videos along the way, like there's a 386 that's been on my bench for about a month now that I've been wanting to assemble into a complete system. I really need to get that together so it's not sitting on my bench. So I'll probably be doing that one soon. But yeah, I'll be spending some more time with these compact Macs. So thanks for tuning in, and wish me luck.